Assalamu alaikum everybody, and welcome to my course on the Arabic script. Before we get into the real details of the Arabic script throughout the whole course, I wanted to put together this introduction video. So in this video I want to go over the objectives and the things that you will actually learn in this course. I'd also like to go over some of the key rules for approaching learning the Arabic script. I'll talk to you a little bit about my workbook that you can purchase as well, so you can have some exercises and stuff to go through whilst you go through this course. And then we'll also have one quick run through of the Arabic alphabet, so you get to see what it looks like, see how the letters are drawn, and things like that. So the first thing to mention are the objectives. So the first objective of this course is that you can write and read confidently. You know, in this course we won't go over any vocabulary or any real understanding of the Arabic language, but it's more just the application and the reading of the script itself. The second of the objectives is to know the Arabic alphabet in order. When you come to use an Arabic dictionary and things like that, it is very useful to know the Arabic alphabet in order, so that'll be one of the things we'll be covering too. There are three main key points that I think it's really important to bear in mind when you're approaching the Arabic script for the first time, or the second, or the third time. And if you aren't aware of these, then it might be a bit confusing to you. So the first one of these rules is quite simple. It's just that Arabic writes from right to left rather than left to right. So that might be why if you've been to an Arab country or you've opened the Quran yourself, then it opens from the other way. That's sometimes quite confusing for beginners, so that's the first thing to bear in mind. The second thing to bear in mind is that there's a few more letters in the Arabic script than there are in the English one. There's 29, 23 of which join to the next letter, and 6 of which do not. These 6 letters that don't join to the next letter are commonly known as naughty letters. But this isn't too alien to English. I mean, even in our English joined-up writing, there are some letters that we find it difficult to join to the next letter, so it's no different to that, really. The third key point, which is a little bit bigger, is a note for you to be aware of on vowels. So, in English, we have 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, U. But in Arabic, there's only 3, which in a way makes it a bit easier, but these 3 vowels can have kind of 3 different forms, so I'm going to demonstrate them for you. So in Arabic, there's just A, E, and U sounds. A, E, and U. But these vowels can be long, can be an A, an U, or an E sound. And when they're long like that, they're actually part of the alphabet. So those letters are all each one of the 29 letters in the alphabet that I told you about. So the other thing is that these vowels can also be short, and when they're short, they're actually not part of the main alphabet. They more appear as decorations on the letters. So this is the second thing to be aware of, is that if we would demonstrate with the letter B, for example, this in English, if we were doing it in a phonics type way, I would say B. It would be a B sound. So those A, E, and U vowels would appear as B, B, and Bu. They would just appear as B, B, and Bu. When you were to put them on letters like that, they more appear as decorations on it. So if we were to put all those two together, if this was a word, it's not a real word, but just to demonstrate, Babibu would look like this. Babibu would just look like this. Okay, so the third thing, and this is, we'll have a specific lesson on this as well, so if you don't quite grasp it now, don't worry too much, but there's something called tenween, where these little vowels, these short vowels, which have appeared on the bottom and on the top, that I just demonstrated to you, they can be doubled. And all that means is that you put a little n sound on the end, a little n sound on the end. So if you double this u sound, it becomes un. If you double this a sound, it becomes an. And if you double this I sound, it becomes in. And this only appears on the end of words. Yeah, this isn't seen in the vast majority of cases when you're writing the Arabic language, but it's really important to be aware of. And that concept, because of the n on the end, is called tenween. So when you hit a tenween, just think an extra n on the end. It's when you double these short vowels, you add an extra n sound on the end. So, if in that example that I had when we did babibu, if it was going to be babibun, all you do is double those 2 u's on the end. Babibun. Or if we had babibin, you'd double those two I little shapes on the end. Or if we had babiban, you would have the two a sounds on the end. So we're going to go through those in a little bit more detail throughout the course, but that's just something for you to have a little peek at, for you to be aware of it when it comes, and so it doesn't surprise you too much when we actually get into the details of it throughout the course. So now I'm going to run through the whole alphabet, giving you the names of each of the individual letters in the Arabic script, and then afterwards I'm going to demonstrate on the board here how we actually write them. You'll get to see my sort of little electronic whiteboard writing them up here. So we'll have a run through them, listen to them very, very carefully, and we won't go through them too quickly. So they begin. Alif, Ba, Ta, Tha, Jim, Ha, Kha, Dal, Dhal, Ra, Zay, Sin, Shin, Sad, Dad, Ta, Dha, Ain, Ghain, Fa, Qaf, Kaf, Lam, Mim, Noon, ha, wow, ya, and hamza. So obviously I just demonstrated them with the sort of English equivalent sounds up there, what we call a transliteration, to try to help you kind of understand what the correct pronunciation of them is. But what we're going to do now is I'm just going to have the little electronic whiteboard there. I'm just going to show you which direction they're actually written in. So we're going to go through them again from the beginning.
ألف باء تاء ثاء جيم حاء خاء دال ذال را زاي سين شين صاد ضاد ط ظ عين غين فا قاف كاف لام ميم نون ها واو يا همزة.
So just as a little note before we move on to anything else, is I'm just going to pick out the letters that they have in Arabic that we actually don't have in English and talk more accurately about what their sound actually is. So the good news is that a lot of these sounds, in fact sounds that we have in English that we don't even have letters for, they have letters for in Arabic, yeah? So like the letter th, we have to join together a T and an H to make a th sound, but the Arabs already have it. Or we have the sound there's the sound dhal in Arabic, which we have the in English. We say the house and stuff. And again, we use two letters for that. We put T and H together, which is also really confusing as well, that we use T and H for two different sounds. We have it for th and th. But anyway, so of the first sounds that you would have heard that we don't have in English include ha, ha. This is just like an H sound, like our h sound, but it's from a little bit further back in your throat. Ha, ha. The next one after that is kha, kha. Kha exists in Spanish as well. It's a J in Spanish, so if any of you have studied Spanish before, you might be familiar with it. Kha is from a little bit further back and is often transliterated, as you saw with a K and an H. Kha. So we have ha, kha. Ra is the next example. So ra, when you see a ra in Arabic, is a trilled r sound. Also present in Spanish as well, and also Somali and Urdu, I think, have them too, if you're familiar with those languages. So now we have these more like emphatic letters often described as. So we have sad. This isn't sad, it's sad. You sort of deepen the sounds, you pronounce it a little bit lower. Sad. And then after you have dad. Dad, the Arabic language is well known as actually being the only language with this sound. You know, the Arabic language is often referred to as Lughatul Dad, the language of Dad, because it's the only language with that sound. So it's likely that you aren't familiar with that sound, so it's worth practicing it a few times. So after we have Sad, after we have Dad, we have Ta and Dha. Ta and Dha. These are like emphatic equivalents of the Te and the Dhal sound. So Ta and Dha. And then after we have Ain. Ain. I know they have Ain in Somali, so if any of you are familiar with Somalia, but you know, Ain is pronounced from a bit further back. Yeah, if you put your fingers on your throat like that, you should hear the you should feel the vibration. Ain. And then Ghain. Ghain, we overcomplicate Ghain sometimes. It's just how the R is pronounced in French. Ghain. So then coming to nearer to the end of the alphabet, we have Qaf as well. Qaf. It's not Kaf. It's not K. It's not a K. It's a Qa, 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 Qa sound. It's a little touching together at the back of your throat. Qa, 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 Qa. And really, my best advice for these, and this is how I learned it. It's kind of weird, really, but I spent a lot of time making these sounds in the mirror, or in the car as well. So if you find a space where people aren't going to think you're that mad, and you practice them a little bit when you're driving in your car, make sure you don't know when you want your windows open. Yeah, like I spent a good time at university looking in the mirror doing those. That's really weird, but it's just part of learning Arabic. So those are my advices for you, and a few little tips for you to practice these sounds and actually how the sounds differ to our sounds in English. Very well done, and congratulations, a huge mabrouk for completing your introduction lesson on the Arabic script. So before I go, I just want to remind you that I do have a workbook for this course, which you can get on Amazon. I'll leave a link to it as well somewhere around the screen. Where you can get a link. There's tons of exercises and drills and everything in there that you can do too to make sure that it sort of sticks and you get a chance to practice it with your hands rather than just with your eyes and your ears like you're doing right now. So the workbook was one of the last things that I wanted to mention. And then finally, you can send me an email at ArabicwithSam@gmail.com. So if you enjoyed this video, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.